For years, the California housing market was considered virtually unstoppable. The story was always the same. Real estate in California only goes up. The Bay Area became legendary for its bidding wars, where homes would sell for hundreds of thousands, sometimes even millions, over asking price. Southern California wasn't much different, with tiny condos being marketed as luxury assets and broken-down fixer-uppers priced like beachfront castles. Everyone, from first-time buyers to seasoned investors, seemed to agree. California real estate was a ticket to never-ending wealth. But behind the scenes, things started to shift. The narrative that California real estate never loses fueled years of wild speculation, with the assumption that the state's homes would always be in demand, no matter the price. People scrambled to get in, convinced they were missing out on a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. From Silicon Valley tech hubs to sun-drenched SoCal suburbs, it felt like the boom would never end. Now, that story is starting to crack. Today I'm going to break down the top 10 cities in California, where home prices are actually plummeting. We'll look at what's changing, what's causing it, and what it means for buyers, sellers, and investors. This is a side of California real estate you're not going to hear about on the evening news, so let's get into it. San Francisco has always been California's crown jewel, a place where tech money flowed freely and homes sold as quickly as they hit the market. But now, we're seeing something that would have been unthinkable just a few years ago. Prices are dropping. According to the latest data from Redfin and Zillow, median home prices in San Francisco are down over 10% year over year. Inventory is up, and days on market have stretched from weeks to months. Even luxury properties are sitting longer, with price cuts becoming increasingly common. A big factor here is the remote work revolution. A lot of the tech talent that once had to live near HQs in Soma or the financial district can now work from anywhere. That's taken a huge chunk out of demand, especially for those sky-high downtown condos. Combined with rising interest rates, buyers are simply more cautious. Some are even leaving for more affordable states like Texas or Nevada. And it's not just the tech crowd. Families who stretch to buy into San Francisco's school districts are feeling pinched by inflation and higher mortgages. Suddenly, the calculus of paying $1.5 million for a two-bedroom doesn't make as much sense. Open houses that used to be packed are now quiet, and realtors are starting to sweat. If you had told someone in 2019 that San Francisco home prices would fall double digits in just a year, they'd have laughed you out of the room. But here we are. The city that was once the ultimate seller's market is now leading California's decline. Los Angeles has always been a magnet for dreamers, but lately, owning a home here has turned into a financial nightmare for many. Median prices in LA have dropped by about 8% over the past year, with certain neighborhoods seeing even steeper declines. The culprit? Affordability. Or rather, the lack of it. With interest rates hovering at multi-year highs, those $1 million starter homes are out of reach for most buyers. We're also seeing a migration out of LA. People are relocating to less expensive parts of California, or even out of state, chasing better deals and more space. This exodus is being felt across the market, from Westside mansions to East LA bungalows. Sellers who once expected multiple offers above asking are now facing lowball offers, and price reductions are the new normal. Another factor is the shifting job market. Entertainment and tech layoffs have spooked would-be buyers, while rising rents are pushing others to reconsider renting over buying. The FOMO that once fueled LA's market has flipped. Buyers are now waiting, hoping for even better deals. It's a sharp contrast to the frenzy we saw just a couple of years ago, where even a tiny fixer-upper would inspire a bidding war. Today, that same house might sit unsold for months, with sellers wondering what happened to the unstoppable LA market. San Jose's housing market has always been closely tied to the fortunes of Silicon Valley. For years, tech IPOs and stock options sent prices soaring, making San Jose one of the most expensive places to buy a home in the country. But as the tech sector cools, so does the real estate market. In the last 12 months, San Jose's median home price has fallen by roughly 9%, with even higher drops in some zip codes. One of the main drivers here is the slowdown in tech hiring. Companies like Google and Meta have paused new office expansions, and layoffs have put a chill on big-ticket home purchases. With fewer high-income buyers entering the market, sellers are being forced to adjust their expectations and their prices. Remote work is also playing a role. Tech workers who once commuted to Cupertino or Mountain View are now moving to other states or even other countries, taking demand with them. Inventory is creeping up, and homes are sitting longer, sometimes needing multiple price cuts to attract attention. For a while, it seemed like San Jose's real estate would always be insulated by tech money. But with the industry facing turbulence and employees rethinking where they want to live, this former hot market is now seeing some of the steepest corrections in the state. Oakland was once the affordable alternative to San Francisco, attracting buyers priced out of the city. But lately, even Oakland's market is feeling the pressure. Over the last year, the median home price here has dropped around 7%, and the days of quick sales are slipping away. Sellers are being forced to negotiate, and homes are lingering on the market much longer than before. A big part of this shift is the rise of remote work. Buyers who once braved long commutes across the Bay Bridge are now moving further out, or skipping the Bay Area entirely in favor of lower-cost regions. That's drained a lot of demand from Oakland's market, especially for smaller starter homes and condos. Rising crime rates have also played a role. Headlines about car break-ins, property crimes, and even violent incidents have made some buyers think twice about investing here. At the same time, rent growth has stalled, taking some of the shine off Oakland as a landlord's paradise. Many predicted that Oakland would keep riding San Francisco's coattails forever, but the combination of remote work and local challenges is putting real pressure on prices, leaving sellers with tough choices and buyers with more leverage than they've had in years. During the height of the pandemic, Sacramento was one of California's hottest markets. People from the Bay Area flooded in, lured by cheaper homes and more space. Prices spiked by over 20% in just a couple of years, but now, that boom is reversing. Fast. Median prices in Sacramento have dropped 6% year over year, and the number of homes for sale is up sharply. The main driver, that pandemic migration has slowed to a crawl. Many of those who wanted to move already did, and with interest rates high, new buyers are far more cautious. Meanwhile, some who bought at the peak are now underwater on their mortgages, a tough spot to be in if they need to sell. Remote work, which once boosted Sacramento's appeal, is now less of a draw as companies pull employees back to the office. As a result, demand has cooled off dramatically, and sellers are having to get realistic with their pricing. A market that felt like it would never cool off is now seeing price cuts, longer days on market, and a lot of anxious homeowners wondering if the party is truly over in Sacramento. Fresno has typically been seen as one of California's more affordable cities, but even here, the market is correcting. Home prices are down about 5% year over year, according to local real estate boards. The problem, even affordable, is starting to feel expensive for many local buyers, especially as wages haven't kept up with the cost of living. The pandemic brought a flood of investors and out-of-town buyers to Fresno, driving up prices at a pace the local economy couldn't sustain. Now, many of those buyers have disappeared, and the city is left with a glut of inventory and fewer people able to afford a home. Interest rates have hit Fresno hard too. Monthly payments are up, and many first-time buyers are delaying purchases, hoping prices will fall further. Sellers are responding with price cuts and incentives, but it hasn't been enough to stop the slide. For a market that once seemed like a safe haven from California's high prices, Fresno is now showing that no city is immune to corrections, especially when affordability gets out of reach. Riverside saw explosive growth during the last real estate boom, with developers racing to build new homes and buyers arriving in droves, but that rapid expansion has now become a liability. Median home prices have dropped by about 6% in the past year, and inventory is climbing as newly built homes hit the market. One factor is simple supply and demand. Riverside built a lot of homes fast, banking on continued migration from LA and Orange County. But as affordability concerns mount and migration slows, that extra inventory is weighing on prices. Economic shifts are also at play. Some of the jobs that brought people to Riverside, especially in logistics and warehousing, are now less certain, with companies tightening their belts and automating more positions. That's left some buyers nervous about making long-term commitments here. The days of multiple offers and homes selling in a weekend are fading. Instead, we're seeing price reductions, incentives for buyers, and a lot more negotiation. So Riverside's boom has turned into a classic case of what happens when too much supply meets cooling demand. Bakersfield was one of California's pandemic-era winners, with home prices climbing rapidly as people looked for affordability. But that growth has cooled off. Median prices are down about 4% from their peak, and the market has shifted from a frenzy to a slowdown. Listings are staying up longer, and sellers are having to make concessions. Much of the earlier demand came from buyers priced out of coastal markets, many of whom are now sitting on the sidelines, waiting to see how far prices will fall. At the same time, rising mortgage rates have made it harder for local families to qualify for loans, further dampening demand. Bakersfield also faces some unique challenges. The local economy, heavily reliant on oil and agriculture, is vulnerable to broader economic shocks. If job growth slows or layoffs pick up, we could see even more downward pressure on prices. The days of double-digit annual gains are gone. Instead, Bakersfield is experiencing the kind of market correction that's playing out in cities across California, reminding everyone that no boom lasts forever. Santa Ana, located in the heart of Orange County, has seen its real estate market soften considerably in the last year. Median home prices are down about 5%, as high interest rates put the brakes on what was once a red-hot market. Many buyers simply can't afford the monthly payments that come with today's mortgage rates, especially in a city where prices were already sky-high. The result? Fewer offers, more price reductions, and a growing number of listings languishing on the market. Sellers who once expected quick sales are now having to compete with each other, often dropping prices or offering incentives to attract buyers. This is a big shift from the not-so-distant past, when even modest homes would spark bidding wars. Now, with affordability stretched and buyers on the sidelines, Santa Ana's market is cooling fast. Investors are also pulling back, waiting to see how much further prices might fall before jumping back in. All told, Santa Ana is a textbook example of how quickly a hot market can turn when the fundamentals change, and right now, those fundamentals are working against sellers. Long Beach has always been a popular spot for buyers who want coastal living without LA's sky-high prices, but even this market is feeling the pain. In the past year, home values in Long Beach have dropped around 4%, with some neighborhoods seeing even sharper declines. The combination of rising interest rates and cautious buyers has slowed activity to a crawl. Part of the issue is that Long Beach saw a big run-up in prices during the pandemic, driven by both local and out-of-area buyers. Now that demand has cooled, prices are adjusting downward. Sellers are having to temper their expectations, and price cuts are becoming routine. There are also concerns about the local economy. Tourism and hospitality, both major employers in Long Beach, have been slow to fully recover. That uncertainty is making buyers more hesitant, especially when it comes to higher-priced properties. For years, Long Beach was seen as one of Southern California's more resilient markets. But with affordability stretched and the economic outlook uncertain, even this coastal city is joining the list of places where home prices are on the decline. So, those are the top 10 California cities where home prices are falling right now. Let me know in the comments. Did any of these cities surprise you? Maybe you're seeing something different in your local market, or maybe you're thinking about buying or selling soon. I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences. If you found this breakdown helpful, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more real estate updates, market analysis, and tips for navigating these crazy times. And by the way, all the music you heard in this video comes straight from the YouTube studio, so big thanks to them for keeping things copyright-free and sounding great. And if you want a longer, more detailed video on any of these cities, or on California's housing market in general, drop a comment below and let me know. I'm always looking for new ideas and want to make content that helps you make smarter real estate decisions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.